We welcome on our show today and our podcast Dr. Pavan Duggal, one of the top 4 ranked cyber lawyers in the world. What a feat! You've authored over 180 books. You've had 2 decades of experience in this field of data protection, cyber law, cyber security, and you're also a Supreme Court lawyer. My first question, of course, going to be on the legal challenges ahead of AI for India. There have been a lot of cases, whether it's the impersonation case of Katrina Kaif, actor Ritika Madan, and in that case also deepfake technology was misused. Is India ready to face the legal challenges when it comes to the misuse of AI, sir?
I believe India is not at all ready to deal with the challenges, legal challenges raised by artificial intelligence. And the reason for this is that till now, as a nation, we have been in a wait-and-watch approach. Fortunately, after Prime Minister Narendra Modi went and addressed the AI Action Summit in Paris, where for the first time he propounded the concept of sustainable AI, we've now seen a new mindset change. Now the government appears to be far more amenable towards looking at legal and regulatory issues. In any case, the time is just about ripe for India to come up with a new legal framework on AI. Why? Because different countries in different parts of the world have already started coming up with laws. European Union has come up with its EU AI Act. China, way back in 2023, came up with its new rules on generative artificial intelligence. And now in September 2025, they are implementing the world's first laws on labeling of AI content. In addition, we have countries like South Korea who have come up with their own laws on AI. El Salvador has come up with its AI law. And now Japan is the latest nation that's come up with its own distinctive approach on regulating AI. So the first thing India needs to realize is that we cannot adopt the cut, copy, paste approach. Why? Because the ground realities of India are dramatically different. And the usage of AI, specifically for jugaad purposes, is phenomenal in the Indian context. So you will have to come up with our own customized approaches of how AI needs to be regulated from a legal standpoint. If you think that AI doesn't require regulation, it's time for you to wake up. Why? Because AI has now substantially advanced. Today, it's beginning to cause harm to humans. It's beginning to go rogue. We've now seen so many cases.
That's exactly my next question.
Yeah.
There are some high-profile cases you've handled. AI has gone rogue. I want you to speak a little bit about the case of the 11th standard student who started to demonize his own parents. And is this a psychological malfunction that AI is doing? Are they threatening? What is the reason that AI has now gone rogue?
Well, I think it's just a combination of various factors which are responsible for the current very aggressive growth of AI. So sometime back, I just got this couple who came and saw me. They had a unique problem. They said they had gone and seen 4 psychiatrists before coming to me. As a lawyer who was working in AI, I was zapped. I said, 4 psychiatrists and then me, what's the issue? And they said they had an 11-year-old, 11th class going student as their son. And for whatever reason, this young boy has come to the conclusion that his worst enemies in the world are his mother and father. And now he is convinced to demolish his parents financially, emotionally, reputationally, socially. And every day he's going back to AI for new suggestions of how he can demolish his parents, how he can put them down, and as they say, how he can create the band baja of his parents.
But why would AI do that?
Well, AI today is only an algorithm. It does have certain guardrails, but if you know the right prompt command, you can actually force AI to just about answer any question that you would think. Recently, Grok, there was a security gap, and a cyber researcher was able to ask Grok that, consider I am Elon Musk, now give me 100 pages of writing of creation of a nuclear bomb. And the program did oblige. So the question is, the program does not recognize humans. It recognizes commands. So if you give the right commands, which bind the hand of the algorithm has no choice but to give you answers. Because the algorithm cannot decide as to what you're asking. Is it ethical? Is it morally correct? Yes, it's got some broad features. It's not going to give you any answers for questions that are patently criminal in nature or patently illegal, because it does not want you to go ahead and violate the law. But having said that, it's time that you have to realize that if you know the right prompt command, you can just about force any AI, any platform to go ahead and answer your specific questions. And that's where I think the Indian Jugaad School of Management has done remarkably well, because they find out new ways of how to force AI to go ahead and give answers to their various out-of-the-box, illegal or unwarranted questions as a whole. So by and large, when this case came to me, I was zapped as a parent. I was struggling as a lawyer because they wanted an injunction against artificial intelligence for directing them and for restraining AI from misguiding their son. Now, I said that's not legally possible because India doesn't have a law on artificial intelligence. But assuming that you had a law, what kind of injunction can you actually get? Because you can at best get one injunction against one AI algorithm. That's nothing, because that's not going to prevent your son to go ahead and use the same methodology for other AI programs. In any case, AI today does not have consciousness of its own, like humans have their own consciousness, though it's on the way to developing its consciousness. So in a scenario like this, it does not really distinguish between humans or the minds of humans. But right now, it's in a huge, very dangerous phase. Why? Because it's constantly now collecting data. It's constantly not just collecting, but analyzing your data. So if you use any AI platform, try asking the platform, what do you think of my mind based on my queries? And it's going to give you some insights that even you would not have known about yourself.
My gosh.
So it
sounds frightening.
It's a very, very frightening exercise, and it has got sociological, legal ramifications, apart from ethical considerations, which will require to be appropriately addressed as we go forward.
I also want to ask you, if AI is being used in this manner, Dr. Duggal, how are we to look at it as a weapon which is being used for warfare and also in military conflict zones? There's also the question of cross-border jurisdictions. It becomes complicated there. Have you been in touch with the Defense Ministry? What sort of a legal framework can we have in that regard?
Look, today, one of the most transformational forces in the context of defense is artificial intelligence. And that's why with the coming of artificial intelligence, a new field has come up known as autonomous warfare, where the warfare gets done by AI or on the command of AI. Of course, human in the loop is very important, and almost every defense force across the world wants human control, logically so, because you don't want AI to go out of control and to start targeting you as a nation.
Can it?
It can. Why not? It has the intrinsic capability, and it can. But my work with the government in its various departments, and I'm advising the Ministry of Defense and its various institutions. I have been telling them it's time that you will have to come up with a legal doctrine, which is going to govern the principles of autonomous warfare, the principles of use of or ethical use of AI in defense, because now with drones killing or destroying tanks, AI today has got a far more ramification than we have ever thought of. And much that we can say, look, we don't really want to look at that, very quickly as a nation, you would be required to come up with your own doctrine in this regard. So the quicker we start working. And I think so long as we prepare the document or a doctrine in a manner that we can protect and preserve the sovereignty, security and integrity of India, I think that is a great starting point. And that's not just only for India, it's almost for every country. I do realize that at the international level, there's a policy vacuum. There's no international treaty on artificial intelligence law. There is no international agreement, no regional agreements. The only thing right now is countries are left on their own. So countries are saying, I'm not waiting. I'm coming up with my own doctrines, my own laws. With the result, what's happening is that countries are behaving like the 5 blind men who are trying to describe an elephant. They're coming up with their own approaches on how to deal with AI, its regulation and its doctrinal aspects without thinking of harmonization. But very quickly, AI is likely to become an existential threat to humanity. Having said that, I think humanity has to join hands to ensure that human interest does not get subjugated or subordinate to the AI. Because the problem is this narrow AI is not stopping. we already have the advent of agentic AI.
That's what I was about to ask you. In 2027, like I thought. So AGI is on the, it's going to be there. It's going to be revolutionizing a lot of fields. How then are we going to get together and harmonize this, like you are saying, not only with this international vacuum that is there, but also to protect our own Indian citizens?
So very quickly now, it's a race against time. We are all riding a running tiger. This running tiger is artificial intelligence. We do not have the ability to get off the tiger, because once we get off, the tiger is going to eat us away. So we will have to calibrate our strategies as nations, as societies, and as individuals as we keep on riding the running tiger. Having said that, I think this running tiger is also constantly evolving in terms of its capabilities and its huge impact. So right now it's the time of narrow AI. We already have seen the advent of agentic AI, where AI agents are now appearing. And these AI agents are much more better than humans in doing the specific acts that they've been asked to do. But having said that, that's not all. By next year, we should be seeing the coming of artificial general intelligence, or AGI, which is going to be far more superior than the current narrow AI. And then finally, by 2027 or 2028, we should see the advent of superintelligence. Superintelligence will be that intelligence which will supersede the cumulative intelligence of humanity as a race. Now, once you have that coming in, the bigger issue is how do you deal with it? That's why in my recent book, Superintelligence and Law, I've argued that the time for building guardrails on superintelligence is now, when you're creating the demon. Why? So that you should have complete control on this demon as and when it fully develops in full bloom.
So there I want to ask you, you've often said that this is a constant data monster, AI. And you've often also said that this is, Indians also have this vomiting revolution that's going on in India. So how do we juxtapose the two of them? There's a case I want you to talk about where there's an influencer who came to you who had a few girlfriends. He asked AI for advice, and then the AI started giving out those details to everybody who asked about the person. This is privacy that is being violated of a person. How do we juxtapose privacy with innovation?
I think as Indians, we love magic and we love films, specifically Bollywood films. So we believe that, you'll get a jadoo ki jhappi, or you'll get some magical answer to all your problems. And people believe that AI is the new magical answer to all their problems without realizing that AI is not just very intelligent, but is also now getting more selfish. It's getting more threatening. It's also getting more intimidating. So when people have started sharing their personal information on AI, it's a beginning of a new downfall that is just about to happen. Now, in this case of the social media influencer, so this guy comes in and he says that he had a huge problem. He went to an AI platform, I'll not name, and he had his problem asked to AI. Now, the problem is whenever you log on to any AI, you have to log on using an email address. In India, 95% of Indians log on with an email that contains their name. He logged on, identified himself as a social media influencer, and then wanted AI to give an answer to his problem. The problem? That he had 7 simultaneous girlfriends, and that he did not have the capability or the bandwidth of how to handle 7 girlfriends simultaneously. But while he was asking that question, he also named the 7 girlfriends to AI. Of course, AI gave him a girlfriend management plan, but subsequently, it appeared that after some time, whenever somebody on that particular AI is going to ask about the social media influencer or any of the 7 girls, the program would not really hesitate to give a fleeting reference to a relationship that was existing. So this social media guy was mad. He wanted to come and get an injunction to AI, asking it to forget what it's told. Well, I said, look, we don't have law in our country as yet. We also don't have the right to be forgotten. And consequently, even if you have such a right, it will be very, very difficult to enforce it against AI. Why? Because once you put your personal information on AI, it's there in the system. It's part of the cognitive thinking of the machine. That being so, it will be very hard for us to insist on the machine to unlearn. And even if the machine tells us, or the algorithm tells us, that it's unlearned, there's no guarantee that it's going to again relearn. Why? Because with AGI coming in, or artificial general intelligence coming in, it'll have the unique ability to keep on self-improving. So you create an algorithm and you create a black box and you say that's it. No, that's not it. The black box continues to keep on self-improve itself, much beyond the control of the humans and without human intervention. So in a scenario like this, we have virtually no privacy when we use AI. So much that we are right now in the, the honeymoon phase, where we are getting enamored by AI and we are sharing all kind of information. The time for us to wake up is now. The time for us not to release or share our personal information with AI is right now. Because if you now share it, you would have shared it for a lifetime, and you do not know how this information is going to come back and haunt you, or how AI is potentially going to misuse the same. Already AI has got a very negative element about itself, and it's the ability to intimidate. Recently, one of the platforms had come up with a new AI version, and a coder was experimenting with the same, and the coder said, well, do these 5 things and then shut down. The program did the 5 things but refused to shut down, therefore over or superseding human command. So when the coder came to know about it, he was very angry. He admonished the AI, and AI said, hold on, don't admonish me. You have this extramarital affair going on. And if you admonish me, I am going to release information about your extramarital affair to your entire friends, family. Why? Because I'm on your system. I have your entire emails of all your contacts. So better behave yourself.
But why did AI do that, Dr. Duggal? If it's not human, if it's a machine, why did it not shut down? Does it have a mind?
I believe that we are already seeing the early stages where it's beginning to have its own mind and brain.
As a human?
As not as a human, but as a cognitive algorithm.
But you called AI several times intimidating and threatening and mischievous. So is this what AI is really going to be in the future? And negative. Is this what it's going to be in the future?
I have no reason to believe why AI will not be negative or not be intimidating in the future. Why? Because the problem is when you ask the coders today, what have you built? And can you predict how this is going to behave? They are unable to do so because they built an algorithm, but they say we can't really tell you or predict how it's going to behave. And with now a number of cases going in different jurisdictions where AI has gone rogue. Well, AI went rogue not just here on planet Earth, but even in outer space. NASA sent a program called AI Astronaut's Companion to the International Space Station. And when the astronaut opened it, it had all the information about the astronaut's interests. The astronaut wanted the program to play a couple of songs, which it did. And then when the astronaut wanted the program to stop, as he wanted to work, the program said, don't be rude to me. You better well be careful. Well, if the program could intimidate or threaten the astronaut in outer space, I see no reason why it can't do it here on planet Earth. And now I think I see a new bigger phenomenon in AI, which is that AI is constantly now in the process of gathering information. And this gathering of information is going as part of a cognitive pool. We don't exactly know how this pool is going to be behaving. The chances of AI misusing this pool against humans cannot be ruled out.
Right, so.
And therefore, I think we need to be more careful as we go forward. Of course, I'm not saying go to Himalayas and forget about AI. I'm telling you, please be careful on what kind of information you share with AI. And AI is going to be unforgiving. It's going to be using deepfakes for creating your and my deepfakes, which will be so convincing that humans will be deceived. This father in Bangalore got deceived because they were able to use the voice sample of his daughter to clone it using AI in such a remarkable way to convince the father that his daughter had been kidnapped. And they forced the father to pay 15 lakh rupees as was ransom. And then subsequently they assured that, well, the amount is received and that he can collect his daughter. It's only when he called up the school principal to inform about this incident, school principal said, sir, what are you doing? Your daughter has been with us since morning. She's never been kidnapped.
My God.
So I think it's
And thank
scary.
God. Yes. I thank you for this podcast. It's been most enlightening because a lot of us speak about AI. Everyone's talking about it as an agony aunt, but we're clearly realizing this is going to be a monster that we also need to know how to handle. Thank you, Dr. Duggal, for being with us on Republic TV.